Hey guys, and welcome to the Entertainment Roundup. This is J77, and this is an audio topic where I talk about all the entertainment news that I have been following for the last week or so. Basically, like it's gonna be like my What's New segment that I have on my second channel. Only this one will be just focusing on entertainment-related issues. Unlike the other one, however, I will not do video. I will just do audio with a few images from time to time. But other than that, these are news that I have been following, and these are news that I deem important to talk about, at least for my own opinion and standards. Some you may find least important, but it is something that I was concerned about. Some of the news that they was talking about, as well as just to see the funship of some of these news that I find hilarious or just plain weird. And in the entertainment world, there's a lot of weird things going on, a lot of serious things going on as well. So I'm going to talk about it, give my own opinion about it, and as always, if you guys have your own opinions and thoughts, please put it on the comment section. Talk about it, give your own thoughts about it, express yourself about this, and I'll be more than happy to take any criticism or feedback you guys may have. With that being said, let's not waste any time. Let's get started. I'm going to start with this article because I've been following it for a while. Has been disappeared quite slowly. It hasn't really been blown up in the entertainment world, especially in the wrestling world. It involves Hulk Hogan and his ex-wife. Now, I might as well give you a brief rundown on this situation here. Linda Hogan, who is Hulk Hogan's ex-wife, had made allegations regarding to her husband's homosexual affair with fellow wrestler Brutus Beefcake. Linda wrote the allegations in her memoir titled Wrestling the Hulk, My Life Against the Ropes. This was pretty much headline news because Hogan was outraged and he basically had filed a defamation lawsuit against her, claiming that what she was saying was all lies. And which now, a few days later, Linda appeared on the Wendy Williams show and basically said that she lied to get back at her husband Hogan, which pretty much sealed what most people, including myself, already pretty much know when we heard the news, that it was more basically being thrown at Hogan out of spite rather than facts. She did appear on Wendy Williams' show, explaining herself, explaining what she did. I do have a link to the article, and I do have a link to the video. You guys can check it out yourself. But it basically confirmed that she did lie about Hogan's sexual preference, which to me is pretty messed up. This was a brief sentence that was done. And this is where I wonder how this is going to affect the defamation lawsuit, if in fact it's still going on, and I will get back to that in a minute. It says here, when you are mad and you're going through a divorce, you say things you just don't mean. Then she says, Hulkster, I'm sorry, I love you, and I always will love you. I'll get to that in a minute. But, yeah, this has been, this whole situation with Hogan and his wife has really taken a nasty turn. The family has went through a lot. There was a son in the car accident and his stunt with the law. You have his divorce, so everything seems to have really imploded within the Hogan family. And this situation here didn't make anything better. I will say this. I again did not buy into the story that Hogan was having a sexual affair with fellow wrestler Brutus Beefcake. It just didn't add up. The way the media has been throwing it out there, the way the entertainment world has been throwing it out there, this sounded like it was more out of spite than anything else. And there is now, and the fact that he was so angry, sorry, and he made this defamation lawsuit, pretty much confirmed. I just didn't felt that this was a true allegations, and I will say this, and I know Hogan was really upset. I will say this: if this was the 70s and 80s, that allegation probably would have gotten more headlines due to the fact that people really didn't embrace homosexuality the way they are right now, especially in the 70s and early 80s. It was not well received by a lot of people, and this claim, whether true or not, could have really hurt his career. They probably wouldn't be a Hulkamania if this thing went through. Now it's the year 2011, 2012, and beyond. Not many people are going to be surprised anymore. However, I will say this, that most sporting worlds still hasn't fully embraced it. There are a lot of athletes who are still, keeping that to themselves, and it's only till after they retire that you find out that they were in fact homosexual. In the case of Hogan, he basically was dead set, denying it, saying this is not true. He even appeared on the Wendy Williams show about a month before his wife did this a few days ago, and basically said it's tough because a lot of my friends are in normal life. A lot of my friends are in the entertainment business. A lot of my friends are wrestling or in the wrestling business are gay. He told Williams, just to say something spiteful and hurtful, I don't get. If it was true and I was gay, I embrace it and I tell you guys about it and celebrate it. I can say this, I'm not too sure that he would have talked about it or basically, tell others about it, especially in the 70s and early 80s. Like I said, homosexuality and sports didn't work well together. There people still to this day or do not talk about it, and it's only, like I said, after they retire do they actually open up about it. If he was doing the business, and if he was was gay in the business, no matter whether it's wrestling, football, baseball, basketball, I think he would have kept that to himself, especially knowing that it could damage his career down the road. You guys give me your own opinion on that if you guys want, but that's just my feeling. I don't think he would have, came out of the closet in the 70s and 80s. Now, I can see it, but I think he would be more cautious of who he talks about it first. As for the defamation lawsuit, pretty much the article, and this is an article from a wrestling article, and yes, I will leave a link to this article so you can read it yourself. It basically, that nobody knows what's going to happen with this lawsuit. If I'm Linda, I will settle this as quickly as possible. The last thing you want to do is send this to court, because if you go to court with this, you're going to lose, and you're going to be humiliated. The judge is going to put you to task on it, because let's be honest, you lied, and people get thrown in jail for that. I'm keeping it real. There's people getting thrown in jail for lying about something like this. And as for the book concern, I think it should be pulled, because you wrote about something that is not true, and it's also very damaging. And it's not like a fictional book that you wrote, or a fantasy book. This is actually a book based on supposed facts, and what you wrote wasn't based on facts at all. But again, that's just my opinion on this story. But in terms of that, I think that one thing we can definitely say 100% is that the allegations that Linda has said has been confirmed by her mouth, that she lied about the allegations. How Hogan will choose to handle that's going to be up to him. I'm pretty much sure the defamation lawsuit is still there, but like I said, if I'm Linda Hogan, I'll settle this as quickly as possible, because the last thing you want to do is go on that judge, because the judge don't want to hear any excuses, and it could be more worse than you having to settle out of court. But That's just my opinion. You guys bring your own opinion. I will move on to the next one. Links to both the video of when it's not long. It's pretty much an entertainment video from another source, but it's definitely a genuine. You guys can check it out as well as the article, and you give your own feelings on this. Now let's move on to something that I actually forgotten. I actually forgotten this one. It involves an owner or the founder, same thing, of Girls Gone Wild. I actually forgot this was actually happening. My sister and I was talking about it, and if my sister read the papers or the news, I know she's not happy with this lawsuit, but it has happened. A Missouri woman won $5.8 million in the Girls Gone Wild case. I'm going to read it briefly on what's going on here, so you have a clear understanding of what's happening. The company that makes Girls Gone Wild DVDs is seeking to overturn a verdict awarding nearly $6 million to a St. Louis area woman who claims her bare breast was recorded without permission. A St. Louis circus judge, John Gravy, last month sided with this young woman in her suit against Mantera Films Inc. and MRA holder LLC MIA holders. LLC awarded her $5.77 million. She was a 20-year-old college student in 2005 when someone lifted her tank top during a party at St. Louis bar, exposing her breasts. Although another person filmed it. She later discovered that the recording was part of the Girls Gone Wild Schwartz's Orgies DVD series. Don't know what these names are. I don't really watch these stupid videos, so sorry. Fiestas claimed in the suit originally filed in 2008 that she did not give consent, and the resulting DVD damaged her reputation. A St. Louis jury sided with the DVD marketer in 2010, but retrial was granted. Interesting. Gravy issued his ruling on March 5th. On Wednesday, the defendant filed a motion asking for the judgment to be set aside and a new trial granted. So there's going to be an appeal after appeal after appeal. Jeff Mondon, an attorney for Fresa, and said he will vigorously oppose any effort to overturn the ruling. Several messages left on David Dalton's, the last listed attorney for Mantra Films and MRA Holdings, were not returned. Phone calls to Margaret Films office was sent unanswered. Let's stop there for a minute. Me and my sister had a big debate over this, and she really wasn't feeling the girls. And I tell you why. She's feeling like this, and she's like, if you guys know what you're doing, you guys know what you're getting into when you're filming these over the top videos, these pretty much soft porn videos, if you may say, and that to feel that you're embarrassed and it ruins your reputation. Well, you guys sign into that. You should know what you're getting into, especially with the bad press that follows that. And in some cases, I do agree to some cases. However, I will say that if the woman did not know that was happening, that she was actually going to get recorded and nobody was actually going to notice, then yeah, I think that she does have a legitimate point. I mean, if she didn't sign into any papers saying this is going to happen, and they just recorded her because they just saw her saw her because she had exposed breasts, then they have, regardless of whether they intentionally did it or not, they can't do that. And I think that's alone is where I sided with this woman. However, like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on here. This is a back and forth case, and I don't see this going to end anytime soon. It's going to be constant appeals after appeal, and like I said, this looks like it's going to be a while. It's going to be taking probably me a few more years before a final verdict could be given. Because, like I said, they signed it with the video company first. Then there was another trial which sided with the victim. So obviously there's going to be a lot of more progress. And one can only say how long can this go before either one or the other finally say that's enough of this. We're not going to do that, and we're just going to leave it alone. For what I do understand, it's here's my question. The woman's attacking Girls Gone Wild. I understand why they're attacking Girls Gone Wild, but how come she's not really going after the person who basically did pull her shirt off without her consent? Because if that is the case, that's sexual harassment. That's maybe there's something I'm missing from that whole thing, but it says in a further note that that Friasa, now 26, and his wife, a 6-year-old wife and mother, claims that she only became aware of her appearance in the video when her friend of her husband pointed it out. She sued soon after learning she was in the video. So again, this is pretty much a question is, how long ago was this happen? 2, did they actually intend it to her to be in the video, if that is the case? And 3, how much responsibility is the judge going to put on the Girls Go Wild company, and as the person who was recorded without her consent? Because like I said, these parties are crazy, and like I said, you gotta wonder how many other people on there that's getting recorded without their consent as well. But like I said, this is one of those cases where I'm gonna leave you guys up to talk about it. Do a free for all on this one. Give me your opinion on this case, and just whether you agree with my feeling on it, don't agree with my feeling. Just give me your feelings on this, because I'm really curious about this one. I know my sister's not happy. I know right now she can tell me that these girls should know what they get into, especially on these parties, especially when they are going crazy and going wild. You should expect something like that to happen. In the middle with that. I think there's a line that must be drawn. If you go across that line, there should be consequences for that. But like I said, you guys may have a different opinion. Let's move on to more serious matters here. This one, why am I surprised that A&E is on this one? This one is very interesting. A&E is being sued. A lot of lawsuits here. A former White supremacist gang member sues A&E for broadcasting his picture. Interesting. So let's read a little briefly before I start commenting on this. And by the way, guys, all stuff I'm going to be talking about, there's articles. I will leave a link, and you guys can check out yourself. But that way, you guys will have a full detail of what's going on. The TV network A&E is being sued by a one-time gang member who was featured on the History Channel Gangland series. In the lawsuit filed in Los Angeles Superior Court on Monday, William Austin, who was a member of the white supremacist gang Public Enemy #1 before becoming a government informant agent, the group claims that the network intruded upon his privacy, thus placing his life in jeopardy. When they included a photo of him in season 6 episode of Gangland, the show, which aired April 21st, 2010, was called Public Enemy #1, also known as PEN, was about the Southern California white supremacist gang of the same name, who are now known for being one of America's most violent criminal groups. Austin, who is representing himself in the suit, says in court documents that he was a high-ranking member of the leaders of the gang, who later became a whistleblower when he testified against the gang leader Donald Popeye Massa. for the government doing Musa's criminal prosecution. He became an informant after Musa, who had a violent criminal history, attempted to stab him to death while another PN1 member held him down in 1999. Musa was convicted for attempted murder in 2003 and was sentenced to 15 years in, I hope I said this right, Pelican Bay Prison, a facility housing California less worst of the worst prisoners in long-term sanctuary confinement. We'll continue with this article a little bit. PEN number 1 has been associated with drug dealing, identity theft, credit card fraud, and credit card fraud. Gotta read slower, guys. Gotta read slower. In 2007, police forces in Orange County arrested 67 alleged PEN number 1 members after learning of an extensive hit list. Wow. That include 5 police officers, a gang prosecutor charges range from conspiracy, officer and a gang prosecutor. Charges ranges from conspiracy to commit murder and possession of illegal weapons. We continue reading this. Austin, who now describes himself as a devoted Christian and no longer associated with the PEN number 1 gang, says he had received death threats and feared for his life. Now that his image has gone out to millions because of the Gangland episode, he is in daily anguish as a result of the unauthorized publication of his likeness. Though his lawsuit is seeking damages including emotional distress damages exceeding $25,000. This isn't the first time ENN has been the target of a lawsuit because of the Gangland. Previously, Jerry Lee's Bristol sued the network, claiming he was deformed in an episode entitled Anti-Brotherhood. He claims he wasn't in the Aryan Brotherhood members, and because of A&E's labeled him as one in the episode, it was causing him to be threatened in jail by upstate rival gang members, who the case was later dismissed. Very interesting story. I just read the whole story because this story was interesting that I felt it needed to be read. I do apologize for for my stuttering a little bit, but like I said, I left a link. You guys can read it in its entirety. Again, let me first indicate here. I think the guy has a case for one reason. Why is it that A&E decided to use his picture when it was very clear that there was a reason that it was hiding his face, and that it was probably one of the best thing to put his face out there, especially when he made it very clear he doesn't want his face on TV. You have to know that he is now considered a snitch by many of the gang members, and they will come after him. If he was in jail, he'd probably be dead already. That is an actual fact. People like that, people who rat on other people in jail, or in witness protection, or just simply in a protected custody facility. They don't go around with other members of the population. And two, how irresponsible can A&E be by posting that? Even if he didn't even give you permission, you don't post his picture out there like that. You're basically assuming that nothing can happen. I don't understand why they would do something like that. And how has A&E got it when it was originally the History Channel's thing? That's another thing I want to curious. That the History Channel gave permission for them to use the series, and then they just decided, you know what, we're gonna put his face there anyway because it has more effect. If that is the case, that's just a terrible decision. And I do believe he has a case with that, because if they did not get his permission, and they just decided that it was just best to put it out there, they should be held liable, because you did put the man's life in jeopardy. Whatever he did in the past, and no one's condoning what he did in the past, but he's trying to move on. You basically has put, not only forget about his life as well, his life and his family. You put both of them. You put all his family members in danger now. And I don't know. To me, it's like A&E just didn't care. I just think they just say, "Oh, we're gonna put his face out there because it gives us ratings." That's nonsense. Do I think he has a case? Yeah, I do. I think he should get a more experienced lawyer. I don't think he should represent himself on his case, but I do believe he has a merit, and I do believe that he should push it to the fullest. Because yeah, that definitely put his life in jeopardy there. They really did. And I don't know. I don't know what A&E's defense is. I know one thing. It's not telling me anything. This is it's not really explaining a lot about it. I just know that this is all basically based on his point of view. I like to hear what A&E have to say. But like I said, I read the whole thing, and it really doesn't say much about what A&E's plans are, what their response is, what they're planning to do. It just says that he is upset. It just says about the situation, which led to him filing this lawsuit. And I can't blame him for being upset, especially now they know who it was who pretty much snitched out one of the gang members. And here's another thing I want people to remember. It don't even have to be that faction. It could be other factions who consider him as a threat because he told on his own crew. They do take that. They do take that to heart. So keep that in mind as well. That's a dangerous move, and A&E should need to answer to that. So far, this is like a few days old. There haven't been no response to the A&E. I have not seen any follow up. But this is the general report. I actually did a couple of follows on this report to see if anything new happened. We'll leave a link to this one as always. And if you guys found anything new, please let me know. I will be following this case because this is something that A&E has had a reputation for a while. And they need to get that thing straight, because if they're going to make reality shows like this and put people's faces down, they need to make sure it will not jeopardize the life of not only the person that they're interviewing, but the family as well. That's my own opinion on that. I would love to hear from your guys' opinions on that. And I'll leave it for you guys open to give your own thoughts. Moving right along. Okay, I might as well go to basketball. I just go to basketball. And by the way, good job for the Bulls. I hope one of their main stars, Rose, is okay. I hope he comes back. From what I understand, that he may be out for the rest of the games, probably the rest of the season. I'm hoping that's not true. I hope he makes a long recovery and get right back there and do what he does best. It definitely doesn't help the Bulls, I tell you that. But good win for the Bulls to start off the second round. First round. Sorry, I'm thinking about hockey. But I hope the Bulls do well as the Knicks. Although I do not think they're gonna do much damage with the Heat. I think the Heat's gonna take them out in 5. That's my opinion. My friend just told me 4. I can see it happen. I don't have too much confidence in the Knicks yet in terms of playoff play. So, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not even here to talk about the playoffs. I'm talking about a news article from the Associated Press that speaks about Jordan's team, and it's not the Bulls. And believe me, what they're talking about is not in a good light. Michael Jordan's team has been considered the worst team ever, according to the Associated Press. This is coming after the Charlotte Bobcats fans were backs over their heads as they watched their second half of the Bobcats' final loss to the New York Knicks in Charlotte on Thursday. As Jordan watched from his luxury box, his Charlotte Bobcats were dealt their 23rd consecutive loss Thursday night, 104-84, to the New York Knicks, and finished the shrunken season with the worst winning percentage in NBA history. I'm gonna put an asterisk on that because I can't really count this season. If you want to say for a short record season, fine, but uh, to me, I can't really take too much emphasis because we have a shortened season. It's not 84 games. We didn't play 84 games this year. We played 66 games. But yeah, even with that being said, this percentage is just unacceptably bad. I mean, this is like horrible. This is like a person who just came, who's just starting out in baseball and just had one hit in his last 44 games. The percentage was 106. That is the percentage they finished with. That means the man recognized globally as the greatest basketball player ever is not so proud owner of the worst NBA team in America. And a lot of people, before I continue this, a lot of people have said that he does not know what he's got into when he became an owner of the Bobcats. A lot of people criticize them. Fellow teammates actually criticize them. And the more you see it, the more it's obvious that he really needs to have someone who knows how to, find talent, knows how to, build young athletes and let them take over more than rather just him, because obviously it's not voting well for him. I don't even think they have. Did they ever have a winning season yet? Did the Bobcats actually have a winning season? I don't remember that, having a winning season. They probably did one in their existence, but I don't see it. It has been 39 years since the NBA team finished with a worse winning percentage than the Bobcats. And in a full season in 1972-73, Philadelphia 76ers finished with a 9-73 record and had a winning percentage of 110. In this lockout-shortened regular season, the Bobcats finished with an awful 7-59, and they are every bit as bad in the numbers indicated. They're last in the league scoring shooting percentage. They're last in the league scoring and shooting percentage. They lost 22 by 20 points. 22 games they lost by 20 points. Not something you want to brag about, I tell you that. Or more. It is hard to decide what's worse, the offense or defense. This year, the Bobcats, with everything Jordan wasn't as a player, unproductive, uncompetitive, unwatchable. And this article is getting worse and worse. Oh man. Jordan told the Charlotte Observers on Wednesday that he knew this team was going to be trying this year, but didn't expect it would be this bad. You don't have talent there, my friend. What can I tell you? But did we want to chase the most ping pong ball in the? Well, they're talking about the draft in the May 30th draft lottery. No way, Jordan told the newspapers. Ever since I owned the team, I think we made some very productive moves on our business side. We had to make difficult decisions and turn over the talent. Difficult decision to turn over talent. This year, the talent we had didn't respond, but that doesn't cause me to turn back on the plan. I hope this plan means getting a balanced team, because the whoever players you have, they didn't do the job. They didn't get the job done at all. While Jordan was sticking to his plan, the Bobcats were painful to watch. No one on the roster came close to having Jordan's charisma, not to mention his ability to dominate. The lack of face of the franchise at least on the court. I'm sorry. And all that is on Jordan. I feel bad, man. They putting everything on Jordan. It's like Jordan is the reason why they're losing. Jordan is Jordan's fault. I really do. When you look at it now, it's like, damn, is he really is he really the one running everything there? I mean, really? His reputation as an as if it continued to take a hit after hit, just the way he used to make game-winning shots after shots. Jesus Christ. Jordan questionable decision making his decision making has landed the Hall of Famer at the center of debate about which former star turned NBA executive have done the worst job. You know it's coming. Jordan spent the season and a half in Washington as a team president and later as a part-time player. And while the Wizards were attractive at the box office, they were horrible as a team. And the owner, Albert Poland, ultimately fired Jordan. Jordan was criticized for trading Juwan Howard and Richard Hamilton, drafting, I think his name is Kim Brown, with the number 1 overall pick, and signing Larry Hughes as to a big contract. He resurfaced as a majority owner as with the Bobcats in 2006 and assumed control of basketball decisions under the watch of the 4-team owner Bob Johnson. Yet poor personnel decisions continued to plague him. The Bobcats swung and missed on draft picks. Adam Morrison and Alex Algina, I think that's his name, they trade away the first round pick to get Tyrese Thomas, who's been a flop and still owes $26 million over the next 3 seasons. Oh man, that's this is not painting Jordan a pretty light in terms of ownership. It's just not. I just know the way to. I'm trying to figure out something to defend Jordan with here, and it's just not coming. It really isn't. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. The Bobcat managed to reach the playoff 2 years ago, so they did make the playoffs. Because I honestly forgot they actually made the playoff at one time. The Bobcats managed to reach the playoff 2 years ago under Jordan, who became majority owner in 2010. But after being swept in 4 games by Orlando Magic, that's probably why I didn't remember them, he decided to blow up the roster and start over. Why? If there was sign of improvements, why just build around the roster you already have? I don't get it. Somebody please comment, especially if you're a Charlotte Bobcats fan. Please comment on that one, because I don't get that part at all. The top 6 players for that team: Stephen Jackson, San Antonio's Grade Wallace, New Jersey; Raymond Felcher, Portland; Boris Drew, San Antonio; Nasir Muhammad, Oklahoma City's; Tyson Chandler, New York; have either traded or waived. We're verified. We are varying for the 8th or 9th spot, and we looked at that and said, how can we get to be one of those 1, 2, 3, or 4 teams, Jordan said in December. To do that, we have to grab access, and that's what we did. We had to create flexibility. At that time, Jordan asked fans to be patient, knowing it will take time to reload, but even he couldn't have imagined this big of a mess. A mess which he seemed to have made on his own. Why did he felt he needed to unload again and blow up the roster? Anyone who has an idea, please let me know. I'm curious. I'm curious. I am curious about this. I'm trying to find something to justify Jordan's moves. I really am, but it's not working. It's just not. The more I read this, the more painful it's become. I think this is not a wasted season. Really, you think this is not a wasted season? Okay, because who knows how good we can be. I'll just let you guys decide on that one. Jordan said before it started, we got some good pieces that can help us get to the playoffs. I am not waiting until next year. I think we have a good quality basketball team this year. The one loss column said One loss column says otherwise. Yeah, it definitely says otherwise. Jordan led the Bulls to an NBA record 72 wins during his 1995-1996 regular season. Meanwhile, the Bobcats are 185 wins, 290 losses in the 6 seasons under Jordan, and have only made the postseason once. They never won a playoff game. So basically, they technically never was in the postseason, other than just showing up. Charlotte became the butt of jokes this season. It has been tough, but we are just trying to move forward. Guard DJ Ingrid says. So I'm getting these guys' name wrong. If I do apologize. Before Thursday's loss, many people are laughing at us and making the losing streak as a joke, but we take it very seriously. We are just trying to stay positive and play hard until the end. Okay. Even Jordan's friends and colleagues have been critical of his job performance. I think people's biggest problem has been I don't know if he has hired enough people around him who will listen to the NBA analysis, Charles Barkley said during a radio interview on ESPN. One thing about being famous is that people around you pay all the bills, so they'll rarely disagree with you because they want you to pick up the check. They want to fly around you, your private jets, so they'll never disagree with you. I don't think Michael has hired enough people around him that will disagree. One thing everyone can agree on: this was not the season to remember. And I just read the whole entire article. I will leave a link to this article, and now I can just basically talk about this article. And what a painful article that was. I'll say this right now. As a player, I have tremendous respect for Michael Jordan. He took the NBA further than what anybody had expected. He wowed the crowd, whether you were a fan of the Bulls or not. He wowed the crowd. He was for a very long time while he was playing the face of the NBA. As a Knicks fan, he basically gave me the most pains because every time the Knicks was good, he put them out of the playoffs. And he gave us some great classic, memorable matchups. I will say that there's no denying that he really he made the Knicks worth watching, as well as giving us probably the best rivalry during those 11 years. So I'm not gonna sit here and say he's a scrub. No, that'd be foolish of me. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and he deserves to be looked at as one of the great ones. There's no denying that. And I'll say this: as for his executive decisions, all I gotta say is just because you're a great player doesn't necessarily make you a great coach, and it doesn't make you a great executive. Again, I go by our experience with Isaiah Thomas. No one's taking away that he's probably one of the great players of his era, but that doesn't necessarily translate into great business decisions. And nothing was proven about that when he basically single-handedly collapsed the CBA. I couldn't believe that whole place went under the way it did, and many people haven't forgiven him for that. His decisions with the Knicks was just horrible. And of course his legal suit didn't help matter. Recently he got fired from Florida because the team just wasn't winning and they went a different direction. Jordan is pretty much the same person, the same thing. And I agree with Charles Barkley 100% that when you're a person that famous and you hire people who knows the business but refuse to disagree with you or question your decision, it's kind of almost impossible to get things done properly. You don't need too many yes men in your arsenal. You need guys who knows how to run an organization, who knows how to scout talent properly, who knows how to develop players from the ground up. And if you don't have those guys, no matter what you do, it's not going to work because you don't have the talent, that you don't have the guys, the scouts, the other people who are going to debate you on whether or not this is the right move. And I'm not saying that's what's going on in the camp of Jordan, but it definitely feels like that. And when you have other people criticizing you like that, both players and the media abroad, it's time that you have to take a back seat and ask yourself, are you alone causing this problem? And if that is the case, what can you do to fix it? And my own explanation is you can be the owner, but hire people um, that knows how to do the things that is needed to have a team win to do their job. One of the things perfect example is George Steinbrenner. George Steinbrenner for a time had been doing so many crazy moves that we didn't had a winning record for almost 4 to 5 years in New York. The Yankees were just a joke for a long, long time, and people and teams, players didn't want to come to New York because of George. It wasn't until George was out of the picture for a few years, and his and the people who he had around him started making moves, started doing things, started building the team from the ground up, that we started becoming presentable again. But it wasn't easy. Even George, when he came back, he slowly was trying to do certain things, and we had a GM who said, "Look, we can't stop trying to trade these players away. We need to start building, and we need to build from the ground up." And we did. We had a lot of players, who came out that gave us a great dynasty. We had some players that came from free agency, but it was still well balanced. And that's what Jordan needs to do. He needs to find that well balance. And I don't think he's doing that. I really don't think he's doing that. I think he's gotten too much, and I do think it's more of him, ego-wise than anything else. But I do believe that he honestly believes what he's doing is the best for the team. And sometimes you need to take a step back and let the other guys who you have hired around you do your job. That's just my feeling on this. I feel this was a painful article. I gotta tell you, because there was nothing pretty that they brought out in this article. This was kind of like a little too harsh. But as I said before, when you have something like this happening, and it's coming from experience from my teams, it does reflect on the owners, and it definitely does reflect on him, because, like I said, he is a well-respected athlete. He's a well-respected basketball player. And to see him fail at this, I think people are not used to seeing that. I think people are not used to seeing him not accomplish that. Even Jordan is probably not used to having this type of failure. And I think that for Jordan, I just think he needs to, be an owner. I'm not saying he shouldn't be an owner. Be cautious, wise, but have people just, run the team the way it's supposed to be run. You don't have to be involved on everything, because when you're sometimes involved in everything, you can do more hurt than good. But that's just my opinion on that story. You guys may have a different opinion on that. I'd be more than happy to hear your opinions on it. Leave it on the comment section. But I am pretty much done on that. As for the playoffs, I am keeping on the playoffs. Like I said, Bills fired the first shot. They won, but it may have cost them a player throughout not only just for the series, but for the rest of the season. And I'm hoping that's not true. I really hope that he can, come through. But from what I've been getting on my computer board, it doesn't look like he's coming back anytime soon, and I'm praying that it's not too serious. Other than that, the media from New York is all pumped up for the Knicks. Already there's trash talking, but to me, I'm being realistic. I don't see in any way, shape, or form they're gonna. If they beat the Heat, the defending Eastern Conference champions, that'll be probably the biggest upset that I've seen in a long time, and I don't see that happening. I think LeBron James and the gang is just too strong for them, and they're going to basically win it out. So that's just my opinion. As for the other teams, I'm going to hold back judgment. I don't think Dallas going to beat. I believe Dallas faced Oklahoma City, and I don't think Dallas going to win against Oklahoma City. I think the Clippers going to win, and I think the Lakers going to win, but honestly, it's an open match. I mean, that's a free-for-all. That is going to be a very interesting Western Conference matchup, but I do believe that Oklahoma City is going to be a threat, and I do not take anything away from the Lakers either. So I do see a one round for the Clippers, But in my feeling, it's Oklahoma City's um, playoff to lose. I do believe they can go far. I do believe they can go to the finals, but only time will tell. So that's all for the sports. On that, I do have one more article. I saved this for last. I don't know why, but I find it a very interesting article because it has to do with Britney Spears. And no, it's not about music. It's about something that the judge approved. As you know, Britney Spears is due to be married again for fiance Jason Terwick. He received approval to become the pop singer's consecutor. Someone, and I hope I'm saying this right, conservator, a position that allows him to help manage her personal affairs. This was given by the Associated Press. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. It's not really a long article anyway, but to me, I'm very concerned about this one because of a lot of things. I'm going to go back what happened a few years ago. A few years ago, as you all know, Britney Spears has suffered a serious nervous breakdown. This was due to a lot of stuff. The custody battle with Kevin Federline, and it was to the point where she really lost it. She shaved her head. There was pictures of her looked like she was just insanely angry. It looked like she was about to bust something up. She's been, put in the hospital a couple times, and this was to the point where the parents had to gain control of her life. They have to seize her money to make sure that it wasn't squandered. And she basically had no control of what was on decision making. Her parents had control, and for a while, it actually worked into her favor because she did get herself back on track. It didn't ruin her career, which no, she's very blessed for that. And she slowly but surely have gotten out of the major headlines and basically focus on her career as well as her two young boys. The problem I have with that is I don't remember them overturning that. I don't remember they seizing control back of that to Britney Spears because they never really talked about that too much. They just kept it on the wrap. So only assuming that they probably did it, but they did it privately. The reason why this bothers me a little bit, but not to an extent, is that you have a lot of people taking control of internal affairs, her money and everything else. It's going to be a point where Britney's going to have to say, wait a minute, am I giving too much control? I know this is her fiance, and I know that she loves him, but when it's too much, it's too much. So one thing I will say about Hollywood, especially, not even Hollywood, but it shouldn't be putting things abroad, is that when you don't have your eyes on your assets, you can lose it easily. No matter who they are. Stars lost millions because they didn't keep an eye on what the other person was doing, especially those who were managing their monies. Tax evasions is one of them where they didn't even know their taxes was never being paid, onto other stuff where people just squander their money on bad debts or just take their money and just run off with it. It has happened. And for me, it really bothers me because it's not just the money. He's having power over her well-being, such as food, clothing, and medical care. And I'm gonna go with my foster parents have told me: if I can't have responsibility for my own money, I shouldn't have it. That's just how it is. And I agree with that. If I can't manage my own monies and my own affairs, I shouldn't have it. She's not a teenager. That's the one thing. She's 37 years old, and there are other people running her life. And I wonder that if that is actually a good thing. I really do wonder if there's something else there that the media hasn't caught up on, or they're just keeping quiet about. It does say he will not have any roles in managing her finance, which I could actually. Alright, that's kind of okay. So obviously he doesn't have any control of finance. But like I said, this what I a few years ago, her family had control of finance. Her family was the one that took immediate action against that because Britney was just losing control. So I don't know if they still have finance or that she has control again. But the point is, why does he need to be the person who has legal power over that? I don't understand that. I just don't get it. But maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe you guys can tell me about it. But it does it does happen, and it does speak to this. Spears have been under the court order since 2000. Conservatorship. I'm sorry, I'm saying this wrong, guys. I do apologize. But it says that there has been something similar to this when her father, Jamie Spears, took up the following two hospitalizations and her behavior, which led to him, taking over that kind of power. But that was in a situation where she just was losing it, and it looked like she was getting back to it. But apparently, I must be mistaken. Maybe there's something else that I'm not seeing. Spears' father did comment, said that he's thrilled to have him involved. So obviously, there's no family dispute there. But like I said, how much power is Britney Spears willing to hand over to these people, and is she not really in shape to the point to where she can't handle her well-being? I mean, again, this is a very complex story, because normally when it comes to this, when the judge awarded this, there has to be something there that says she can't really take care of herself, emotionally and physically. So maybe I'm missing something. You guys, if you guys who follow Britney Spears, who knows more about it, please comment on it. I'm curious about this one because it does caught me by a little bit by surprise. I know some of you guys say it's not a serious story. Probably it's not, but when one person turns over their rights, legal rights like that, it does raise an eyebrow, because she. Trust me, she's made a lot of money in the last 3 years. A lot of money. She's not slowed down. I mean, people thought that she was going to die out with the other teen pop sensation. No, she's actually went full throttle. And whether you like her or not, one cannot say that she definitely generates the big bucks. And to hear this, especially after there hasn't been much of her going nuts in the last few years, makes you wonder if she's really all there. I'm just saying, I may be overlooking this, I may be overanalyzing it, but that's just how I see it when it comes to that kind of story. I'll leave a link to all 5 stories, to a video for the Hulk Hogan's live interview. Wendy Williams will be there, so it will be one extra link for that. But that's because of the video, and I want you guys to judge for yourself with the video and what you feel about this. And again, if you guys have any feedback or your own opinions on the stories I talk to, by all means, share it with me. I'd love to hear your opinion on this matter. Love to hear what you guys have to say. But until then, I will say good night. I hope you guys enjoyed this section of the verse of hopefully many. This is like a tryout for me. If this comes work well, I'll continue doing it. If not, I'll work on something else. I do apologize for my stumbling in words, but like I said, still new at this in terms of bringing out all these topics in audio form. And like I said, you get better by keep doing it. But until then, this is J77 saying you guys take care and have a nice weekend.